Good morning. My name is Sarah Hindlian. I cover enterprise software for Macquarie, and I am honored to be joined today by Ken Kalb, the CEO and founder of StoryCloud.
Hi, nice to see you. It's great
Nice
to be
to
here.
see you, Ken. Thank you so much for joining us.
Very exciting.
Ken, I would love it if you could tell us exactly about StoryCloud, what it is and the platform that you're building today.
Sarah, thanks so much for asking. I really appreciate it. And we're delighted, by the way, to be here at the Monty conference.
Thank you for joining us.
It's fantastic. It's a great event. I don't want to plug Monty too much, but it's really great.
Awesome, thank you.
Anyway, so about StoryCloud. So we are focused on being the leading provider of low-cost deposition reporting services for litigation. And it seems like a somewhat unglamorous business providing support services for litigation, but it's actually an extraordinary opportunity to disintermediate a complete industry. Today, when two attorneys actually go toe-to-toe and do a deposition, there's a person, a court reporter, who comes in and manually transcribes that deposition. And it's been done the same way for about 140 years. StoryCloud is the first company in the world to actually introduce artificial intelligence and machine learning to start to scale the process. And so we're very excited to be here today because it's a $5 billion a year industry that's been completely untouched by technology.
The emergence of digital data is so amazing in how it's changing the world, and all the software solutions that have arisen to meet that challenge.
Right.
I never even thought about litigation or the opportunity in that industry. What really compelled you to think about modernizing what is still a pen and paper type process?
Well, it's kind of funny. So unfortunately or tragically, I was involved in a little bit of litigation, and we happened to watch what was going on in the process because we're, like you, we're all engineers.
Sure.
Right. Not as glamorous an engineer as you are, but we're all...
Thank you. I don't know about that, but thank
But
you.
we're primarily from Caltech as opposed to MIT. And so we took this engineering team and we said, how can we make this process better? What can we do to actually scale it to provide more accurate and more reliable transcripts for litigators? And so we invested about $10 million, several years, a lot of great engineering talent, and now we've just started to release the product to market, and it's going extraordinarily well. So we're very excited by it.
$5 billion market, is that correct?
It's really unknown. It's the last multi-billion-dollar market that I'm aware of that has been completely untouched by technology. So we view it as a terrific opportunity to disintermediate the space and also to add a lot of value. And there's one other really interesting thing about it, and that is that young people, or younger people, I guess I should say, younger people don't go into the court reporting field. They don't actually choose to be court reporters and transcribe text and testimony, etc. And so what's happening is that there's an enormous shortage of people to do this job, and so StoryCloud has appeared at just the right place and just the right time in order to fill that void.
Today, let me ask you, do people still manually attempt to search records for information?
Well, not the searching of the records, but the creation of the transcript itself is, so you're an engineer, so I'm going to answer your question. I think you'll actually be genuinely interested. So the original 10-key machine, which is what they used to stenographically record a deposition, was invented by a fellow whose name is Miles Bartholomew. It's kind of interesting. In 1877. So 140 years ago, somebody invented what's called a 10-key. And they use these 10 keys to create phonetic keywords. So LMK would be let me know. And they actually type on this keypad to approximate speech, which is, or the rate of speech, which is about 220 words a minute. And so we do something very similar, except we do it in software. So we record the audio, then we use thousands of computers to actually process it, and then many, many other things to offer a streamlined product. But I've always found the history of technology quite fascinating. Who was the person who, created the first machines to do either speech to text or automotive, whatever it happened to be.
Oh, absolutely.
It's very fun.
It is. And so I'm wondering, You're talking about artificial intelligence and machine learning, and obviously there's going to be a tremendous amount of data created.
Right.
So how do you think about really using that machine learning and artificial intelligence to deliver the best product to your customer?
So that's a really interesting question. So data is a key part of it, but one of the elements that's actually the trickiest, that's requiring the most amount of technology or value add that we create, is in regard to multiple simultaneous speaker recognition.
What is that?
Okay, so you and I are having a conversation, but sometimes attorneys yell at each other all at
You don't say.
all at the same time.
My father's an attorney.
Okay, is he a litigator?
He does litigate, but he's
Okay.
a corporate tax attorney.
Okay, so he has some experience in this. So, or think about the dinner table when everybody's screaming over a hot political topic, and they're all talking at the same time. So speech to text can be done in a fairly straightforward way, and remember, in the legal profession it has to be close to 100% accurate. The real challenge is, how do you recognize multiple speakers when they're speaking at the same time? So our colleagues over here who are recording audio, they're using two separate microphones, and then they're channeling it together. But when they're yelling at each other, it's really difficult. So we've developed proprietary patent-pending software to figure out who's speaking and when, and if there's an overlap, to be able to recognize and then produce a transcript that's nearly 100% accurate.
It sounds extremely interesting, and we cannot wait to continue to watch your progress.
Right.
Thank you so much for joining us here today, Ken.
Really a pleasure. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure for us
Thanks.
too.